The future of humans on the planet is in trouble, and it's down to our own actions. That's the stark warning from a group of the world's leading scientists who've just released the first comprehensive health check on the planet.
They say human behaviour, alongside the impact of climate change, has put an unprecedented 1 million animals and plant species at risk of extinction.
The report, carried out by the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, looked at the impact of economic development on nature and assessed the changes over the past 5 decades. Now, it says that the rate of destruction of, for example, rainforests, coral reefs or natural ecosystems is tens, if not hundreds of times higher than the average over the last 10 million years.
The impact on humans, if no action is taken, includes water shortages, climate instability and food security. For more, Elena Casas joins us from Paris. Elena, startling warnings from this report indeed. Who did they say were the biggest culprits?
So there's one overarching message behind this report, which is that the amount of space and the amount of resources being taken up by humans on the planet just isn't leaving any other room for other species. The report says 3/4 of land is either being used for farming or has been concreted over, and that 2/3 of the world's seas are now being used for fish, and 2/3 of the world's lakes are being used for crops. So what that means is that there's no space left for other species. Habitat loss is such a problem, the report says, for 500,000 species, that they are, as the report puts it, essentially the walking dead. If something dramatic is not done to preserve their habitats soon, then those species are doomed. So it's really the role that humans are playing and the resources that we're consuming that the report points the finger at, and several specific issues, including the amount of land used for meat farming, for agriculture, the amount used for wood that's then burnt by human beings, of course, and the way we're getting rid of our waste. They say that plastic waste has risen tenfold since 1980. Most of this is not being recycled and is going straight into the environment. And they also raise concerns about the way that wastewater is being deposited straight into seas and lakes.
Elena, it's a very bleak picture indeed, but was there any good news from the group's findings? Is there any action that we can take?
Well, the report is expected to sound shocking. That's the intention, because what the writers do, what the scientists want to do, is wake up policymakers and force them to take dramatic action, a bit on the model of the Intergovernmental Report on Climate Change that was released last year and has succeeded in pushing global warming up the global policy agenda a bit. Now, the report's authors are keen to stress that it's not too late, that something can be done if we drastically change the way that we use natural resources, and if we start, for example, to farm more in sync with the world around us and grow things in a way that promotes biodiversity instead of allowing monocultures, for example. So they're keen to show that it's not too late, but we really need to reduce the amount of resources that we use. And they're also keen to stress, of course, that it's human life that's at risk if things aren't done to curb the amount of species that are being lost. Food security and clean water could be at risk in many parts of the developing world if these species are allowed to become extinct.
Elena, thank you very much for that perspective on this recent climate change report. We were speaking there to our correspondent, Elena Casas Montanez, in Paris.